God is busy doing it. Listen, I know we drive around in New Orleans and in Slidell, and we see all these work machines and cars and trucks and everywhere, and we see that there's no one there doing any work. And we wonder why they're not doing any work when it's 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock during the day, and we wonder why they haven't been here in a week. That's not how God is. God's not like on the city payroll and therefore not caring if they're finishing the projects. Right. He's always on the scene. He's always seeing what needs to be done before you even know. He's always trying to lead you unto himself. He's always trying to bring forth life in you. It's not as if he's sleeping at the wheel and you got to wake him up with your faithfulness and then he'll come and help you. Yeah, he knows the help that you need before you even realize you're frustrated. Right. He understands what's going on. He's already on the scene. He's already working it in you.
And he's going to complete.
And he's going to complete. I love that. I wish I could remember what my mom said, but my mom's message, the first half of it, she explained these verses in James about the faithfulness of God. And I thought it just touched me, man. It was so beautiful the way she broke down these verses in James about the faithfulness of God. It's like if we could actually have eyes to physically see God busy with upholding our lives and saving our souls from all that. If we could actually have eyes to see him, we wouldn't be concerned. Right. And it's like we lose sight of the faithfulness of God. And we find ourselves in the middle of a storm and we think God's not there somehow.
Or let me do it with my own
hands. Right. But if we could physically see God there, we wouldn't be... Listen, even if God's sleeping and I see him there, I'm okay with it. I mean, our dear sister, Linda McFarland, she did a video. And never mind, I got to post it on the Bible Study page because I really enjoyed what she said. But she did a little 9-minute video and she talked about her sister when her sister was dying from cancer in the hospital. And she was, in the video, she said she was in the Word of Faith thing there. Where, fake it till you make it. We're just going to confess the right thing. We're going to confess life and you're going to live and not die. And she's just busy saying that. And she said she was in there talking with her sister. Her sister had an issue and had to go to the hospital when she was dying of cancer. It didn't look good. And she said her sister was like, I see Jesus sitting right there. And she said her sister was just filled with peace and rest, like a glow, it was almost as if her sister was the one that needed to minister to her. And she said she was busy thinking, oh my gosh, that means Jesus has come to take her. And she's all, no, yeah. She's all, yeah, Jesus is with us. He's even in us. And she's like, no. I see him sitting right there. And so Linda went on to say that she tried to tell her, well, don't look at him because the only reason Jesus will be sitting right there if he's going to take you now. That's where she was at in her theology, right? And so she, well, don't look over there at him because Linda's busy trying, you're going to live and not die, But she said over the years, what she's come to realize is that, man, her sister was actually the one with the peace. And the reason why she had peace, even in the midst of this storm of physical death, was she saw Jesus was there. And it made everything else seem insignificant. And when your heart can be touched by the faithfulness of God towards you, it'll give you eyes to see God there. And if you see God there, you're not worried about the fight that's coming. It's like when I was in high school, I had my older brother there all the time. And his friends were badasses. You don't mess with these people. These people were rough and tumble, man. I could go on and on and on. But listen, anyway, wherever I went, if there was a fight that was going to be had or a squabble that was going to be had, I was never worried about it. Because I saw my brother and his friends there. And I knew we're going to come out on top. We're going to win. I was never worried about it. But that's how it is when you have eyes to see God always there. It's just that the suffering in this world, it tries to blind us to the presence of God. It tries to convince us that this suffering is evidence he's not there. That he's not working. That he's not upholding.
You're not the son.
Yes.
Right.
That's it.
And especially if it's something that ends up in your house, then you really start thinking, what happened?
Exactly. Just like Job. Yeah. And so, man, the faithfulness of God, what'll happen is, man, when your heart, it really sees how faithful God is. I mean, like when your heart is persuaded of the faithfulness of God, your heart begins to go to him in the midst of situations, right? Like you have eyes to see him there. And if you see him there, I guarantee you what happens is you're going to feel peace even if you're facing certain death. Peter was not feeling any fear when he said, crucify me upside down. That ain't the statement that somebody makes when they're filled with fear. Stephen was not filled with fear when they all had stones in their hands and they had him outside of the camp. Why wasn't he? He saw the Son of Man.
Right.
He saw God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Everything's okay with it. Why was Jesus sleeping in the boat? When the storm was going all around, why wasn't Jesus worried about the storm?
He had no fear,
That's
no
why.
worries. no
Right?
concerns. Yeah, he trusted his Father.
Peter was walking on the water as long as he saw Jesus.
Right.
That's right.
The water, the stormy water, is a picture of this life.
Mm.
He was walking above it while his eyes were on Jesus. He saw Jesus. And see, the beautiful thing about faith is that faith can become your sight, and even though you maybe can't see God with your physical eyes, it'll be as if you can see God with your physical eyes
Right.
when you live by faith.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a paintbrush comes and paints an image of a guy next, oh, there's God.
Just
Right,
like you
right.
see Christmas before in October.
Yes.
Okay, just like, I mean, it's all in the Bible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel in the lion's den. I mean, it's just all in there.
Yeah, they were at rest.
That's right.
They were at peace. Listen to what James says. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Throw yourself a party is what one of the translations says. Throw yourself a party when you encounter various trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't find that thing going on in the church very often.
No.
Right? We all going to come together and we got to pray and fast so we can manipulate God to do a thing. And then we got to figure out what secret sin the people have so we can get that out of them. More than likely it's because they haven't been tithing. And so now we'll put them through the classes to teach them how they have to tithe so that their seed doesn't fall too early. You know, we'll get them on the right path. That's normally the thing we're busy with. We're not busy throwing a party. But James, I love this what he says. Knowing this, why are you going to count it all joy when you encounter various temptations? How are you going to be happy there? Knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. Now listen, he's not saying that the trials come and that the trials are what produces faith or produces patience. He's not saying God uses the trials to
Yeah.
give you patience.
Right.
That's not what he's saying there. What he's saying there is when trials come, count it all joy because you possess within yourself something called the faith. And you know how when you squeeze a turnip, you get something out of it? Count it all joy when you encounter tribulation, because when tribulation comes, it puts a bear hug on the faith you have in you. And the faith you have in you, when you squeeze it, you know what comes out? Patience.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I heard someone say one time, don't ever pray for